I went to the tournament. It was okay. Um, I got 3 hours of sleep and had terrible stomach issues the whole time. So it was unlucky, but I had good mental fortitude, which was really nice. I never have that at tournaments, so it was like nice to sort of try to do it and get it. Um, I think I think it's taking a while to internalize Marth stuff. Um, it's just hard to feel like I have an intuitive sense of when he's comfortable versus uncomfortable. I know I need to get close to him, and I know that it's actually really hard for him to keep me away. But at the same time, it's like uh I don't know. I haven't looked back at the games yet in a really long time, so I need to just do that because um I haven't had as much time lately, so I've just been focusing more on playing. But I think I just played a little bit now, and that went okay. I think I don't know. I think I'm like fixated on trying to do the ideas that we were talking about with like using more needles and sort of um not being so worried about F tilting him when he's a little bit closer. Like when I'm fixated on just doing those ideas, like it just doesn't go very well in a session. And then like when I try to play a little more fluidly and naturally, um, things end up panning out. So it, I don't know. I might just be. I have no idea. Like I just really have to watch the games and figure out the details. But the tournament stuff is just like I don't know. I think like not internalizing my stuff really well made it really hard, especially when I'm feeling like dog or whatever. Like the DJ, like they like the venue double booked, so like a DJ came in at like 7:30. So I just like they started just playing like trap bangers while I was like trying to play, and I was like, well, this is extremely unlucky. But um, yeah, I think I guess like if we're sort of evaluating results or whatever, since it's important subjectively from my subjective standpoint, it's fine. Like I think like I outplaced my seed, which is nice. I again like I think the feeling of really forcing myself to fight it out every time felt really interesting and good, like a new experience for me. I don't I'm really bad at losers brackets normally. I'm like, dude, what's the fucking point? Like I'm gonna have to play 20 sets moment, and then like half the people I play are losers, and then but um so it felt good to have composure. I think actually, the whole experience of like being kind of sick and not knowing no I can't remember any very like specific things. I can just sort of remember my emotional impressions.
Yeah.
And so it made losing that more unpleasant. Like my reflection on it is that if it actually feels kind of embarrassing to lose, like to have lost so badly versus the Marth, because like it just feels like I've been working on it and I've
Mm-hmm.
felt relatively confident going into it, and then I got unlucky. And now, like, not only did I get unlucky, but I just can't remember anything about it. And there's no Slippy replays because I didn't play on a setup with Slippy,
Yeah.
so it's like I can't even go back and critically evaluate, the gap in my memory. And instead of just like, okay, well, like, I guess I still just suck ass or some
I
character.
guess we go back. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'll probably keep working on Marth.
Mm.
I lost to Falco in winners bracket. That matchup is like I think like uh it's not, I think Fox Marth Puff like all the ones that I have lessons on I have a good structure for,
Mm.
so I don't feel too worried about like picking up new things. Like Fox Sheik is like a matchup where I have like I really feel like I have all the pieces to play versus lots of people that are even decent.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay. Take your time.
I feel like I have all the pieces. I just have to get more used to playing like lots of different foxes and being faster and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
trusting that I can react and all the different nuances versus fox and all that shit. And then like Marth, it's like I'm still working on it, and then Puff is like I'll eventually need to come back to that, but for now like we had enough basics in the lesson from like a year ago that I can
Oh.
still work with it. But Falco is like a matchup I've literally never really had a structure for, and like when I watch the Sammy sort of like Falco basics lessons or whatever that he's done, I think with Kyle and a few other people, it all makes sense. it just ever seem to doesn't ever seem to click emotionally, because
Hmm.
when I'm playing it feels like, I think I've described to people that Sheik versus Falco to me feels like a matchup where like Sheik is just like feels like she's losing like 70% of neutral interactions, and then something random happens and then she's like destroying Falco.
Yeah, I think that is pretty accurate.
Really? No, dude.
I think
That's
it is very easy to just kind of get shot on by Falco. I think it's like Peach has this against Falco too, but to a much more extreme extent. But like a lot of the time, as Sheik against Falco, it'll be like, man, I'm just kind of getting lasered and I'm stuck. Guess I'll move out the way, and then it feels shitty for a while, and then you're like, oh, I guess I have a chance to like either be on platform with needles or like forward tilt or crouch under a laser or something. It's like there are chances you get, and then once you take the chances and it goes well, then you get to play the game. But before then, I think it's really like pretty difficult to not feel like, damn, I'm just getting
yeah.
shitted on.
Yeah, okay. That's gratifying to hear, because I think um like, especially like even when I watch Jmook, like it's like when he's playing against Falcos that aren't literally trolling, like Mango. Like Mango's just trolling against him half the time, but like when he's playing like Magi or even Avery, like there are plenty of times where it's just like he's losing neutral, or it feels like he's on the, even a Shep too. Like like pretty much every high level Falco that he's playing against, it's like he's not actually winning neutral that much. It's just like the Falco messes up one thing, or he like gets his one chance and he gets, he just wins it, the interaction, and then suddenly like Falco's knocked down, and then even if Falco gets out of the knockdown position, he has to play a disadvantage neutral, and then like things can go south. But if the Falco resets, then suddenly everything feels horrendous
Yeah.
again.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I think that's my general feelings on the matchup. Like I think I have like a general idea of it, which is like, don't fight Falco unless, like, similar to Fox, don't fight Falco unless it's on your own terms. Like, use platforms more. Like, understand that because he's slow, like he has a really hard time getting under you, so that gives you a lot of leeway to play interactions as he's dealing with you platforming. Um, uh, what is it? Like, I think like yeah, it's pretty much. Oh, like shielding is extremely broken versus him, because like Sheik's narrow to shield plus roll plus wave dash out shield are like a very complete set of options against the kinds of things that he would want to do, and
Hmm.
also like his grab does nothing to you.
Yeah.
Um, but that's like, those are so general, and like I like don't have a good sense of like how to, like, okay, maybe like a really concrete example is Falco like has to set up.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a Marth thing, but like like he has to set up to get his good positions. So it's like, but like sometimes Sheik has to, like sometimes like you can challenge the setting up and sometimes you can't. And it's like, okay, well, I don't really know how to distinguish between the two. Um like that's like a more slightly more concrete example of like, what am I doing versus this character, and how do I like more consistently generate advantages and stuff. So,
Hmm.
and I could just be wrong too. It's like I could be totally wrong, and like we could just watch the VOD and be like, there are these issues that you have to fix before you even play that part of the game.
Ah. I mean, honestly, I guess we could just go into watching and then kind of work it through afterwards. But I think if you feel like it'd be valuable, we could cover some of the like baseline positions or spacings beforehand.
Yeah, I think that always helps me, is to start with like the baseline position stuff and then look at the VOD and then like see how that maps out.
Okay. Well, I think to start off, just kind of building up the groundwork. I think obviously Sheik being on the platform, hard for Falco to deal with from most positions.
Hmm.
Obviously, unless he's either directly below you or like close enough to where him doing dash jump action will hit you on the platform. Um, Specifically more dash shine than up air, honestly.
Yeah,
Then it's like those are the ranges where you being on the platform is obviously something that
right.
you have to like think about. But otherwise, it's like because you can jump needle, and jump needle has like the 45-degree angle that kind of
Right.
catches. That's like your effective range essentially.
Yeah.
And so like before Falco gets past like that point, he can't really play the game. And so like initially, your
Sure.
goal probably should be to like, you know, maintain, not necessarily maintain that spacing, but play in that spacing, and
Mm-hmm.
then um kind of play it by ear, whether it's like, oh, is the Falco going to the side platform and standing needles are good, or is he on the ground, and then jump needles make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I also think this, you don't even need to necessarily be on the platform in that position either, because standing needle on the ground slash being able to jump to the platform is like
Yeah.
also relevant in the same ways that the platform stuff is. Um, and then I think there's a specific range where you get a bit closer and you're on the ground, and it's like if Falco is kind of like at the edge of his approaching laser range, then it's like
Mm-hmm.
I think in that spot Sheik has a decent amount of advantage, because either jumping over lasers or crouching under lasers matters a lot more, because if you get any closer than that on your terms, then you can start threatening with spaced aerials, tilts,
Yeah.
and boost grab and stuff, and that is really hard for Falcon to deal with once you get there, and he's not like hitting you with a laser.
Yeah.
Um, and then when you're super close, honestly, it's not really good for you at all. You'll just get slapped
Yeah.
around. Um, and I think like in terms of navigating those positions, honestly, I don't think the onus ends up being on Sheik to be proactive, unless it's like I have caught the Falco without a laser. Maybe it's because I needled him. Maybe it's because I've jumped over a laser and he's now like unable to use laser to defend himself. Um, then you could, maybe justify being proactive in those cases. But a lot of the time, you'll probably be waiting for the Falco to move towards you, and it'll be some mixture of either intercepting him moving forward, trying to like transition through the, furthest approaching laser range,
Yeah.
or you'll move backwards and be okay with maybe giving up him doing an approaching laser, but the spacing that you'll end up afterwards is like either if he doesn't approach, you get the initial spacing, which is pretty chill because you could take your time and move into the approaching laser spacing all just completely safely. Or
Right.
if he does decide to be aggressive, you're either, if he does an aerial for whatever reason, I don't think he really will, but if he does, you just get to start the space pressure thing, which Falco is really bad at dealing with because he's not fast and Shine sucks, and
Right.
he, I mean, those two things honestly kind of make it. And then, or you like he does a laser, and then you end up at a similar spacing, but you're in laser lag, but you're also not like immediately going to die. It's like you'll get lasered, and then probably the worst case scenario is you get red for forward tilting, but a lot of the time it'll be like, oh, I'm gonna crouch, and then Falco's gonna do like laser nair trying to really jump, and then you'll be able to CC it, or at least something reasonable happen, or you get to shield, or you get to jump backwards and go to side platform or whatever.
Right.
And so it's like there's a lot of the time where it's like, oh, I'm getting pressured, kind of reflecting, not reflecting, but representing that situation where it's like, oh, I'm getting pressured and it doesn't feel good, but you don't actually have to get hit a lot of the time. I think it will feel bad, but you could just play the escape game until there's like a moment where like the pressure link breaks, and then you just get to restart the thing over again. And
Sure.
I
Uh,
haven't necessarily talked about hitting Falco, but if you're not being proactive, you hitting Falco is, oh, I'm jumping over laser and maybe fairing his head if he approaches, or oh, I'm crouching under laser and then I get to like down tilt him doing an approach aerial, or oh, I'm going to read him doing like a laser then boost grab under it or something like that, right? Or I'm jump needling to the platform and he's doing something under the platform right in the like angle of the needle, and then he gets hit, and then I get to come down and either hit him directly or play a like advantageous mix up.
yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, I think, all that seems sensible. And then it's like, there's also like the flip side of it where, I mean, this is just being devil's advocate. It's like, Falco, like, what if Falco just like shoots me forever?
Needle is a lot better than laser, I think, in terms of like
Yeah.
when they are going against each other, because you have a wider variety of ways that you can needle. Because at the end of the day, Falco can only really laser horizontally on the ground. If he goes to the platform, he's dealing with you running up and then pressuring him the time it takes him to go to platform,
Oh, I
which
see. Okay.
isn't really that cool. Or then if if he's on the ground lasering and you're on the platform, who cares? And if you're on the ground needling, well, he's lasering. There's some you can like play the mini game of like
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge needles for as long as I can until there's a laser coming at me, and then if we're reasonably spaced, I can either go to the platform and then create the annoying angle where Falco's really far away and has to get past the needles, or I could just charge needles on the side platform and make Falco lose. Because he either has to accept the fact that I get the free 18% that goes through lasers,
Right. Yeah.
or you will dash forward into you like stopping the needle charge and then hitting him, right?
Sure. Okay.
Um, and so that's kind of like he could just shoot lasers, but I think he will end up losing because for at least for Falco, him getting clipped in a kind of random way is horrific. Not even because it like might lead to death or he might get tech chased. Even not before
Because
the
he
knockdown
doesn't have a
percents.
laser out.
Yeah, he just like
Yeah.
can't prevent you without there being some reality where he whiffs his aerial like an AC bear trying to read something, and then you're like sitting there waiting to grab it. Or he does a greedy approaching aerial, and you're like, oh well, I don't really care. I'm just gonna shield and narrow the shield or wave dash back and grab it. You know, it's like without a laser, he doesn't have anything.
Right. Okay. No, I think that overall makes sense. I think what stood out to me was the idea that there's actually a lot of positions where I don't have to get hit because it actually I think my experience feels like the opposite where I'm playing and I'm like, dude, he could really just come in with a laser and then follow behind with an aerial at like if I don't defend successfully against the first laser, then he's almost guaranteed he's like guaranteed to mix up. And
Mm.
that feels bad. But it seems like you feel like that should not happen very often. And I think the other part that stood out to me too is that the onus is not on me to be proactive for most parts of the game. Like the onus is on me to get a better position first, uh, or until he has no laser out and I can get close to him in some meaningful way.
Yeah.
I think those are the things that really stood out to me because I think the other like the specific range thing that clicks for me because felt I've felt and seen that in the games. I just like didn't know the range concretely.
Mm.
And then obviously I spend a lot of time or I try to spend some amount of time platforming because he just has a laser. So I'm like no matter even if I knew nothing about Falco or anything about the game, surely a reasonable first step would be to go to the platform so we're getting shot.
Yeah.
I think the more nuanced stuff about not having to be proactive as well as understanding that there's not actually that many positions where I have to get hit. Those are the things that really stuck. So, okay, cool.
Yeah. I do think there's one thing you said that I do want to like go over just a tiny bit where it's like there are spots where you'll get put in mix-ups because I don't think
Yeah.
you can avoid the mix-up if it's like you get the Falco does an approaching laser that maybe you aren't ready for, and then he's close enough to where if you do try and forward tilt and he does an approaching aerial, his will come out first. Like so you're
Yes.
forced into a mix-up, but I don't think that you need to get hit by the aerial or by like the big option, which
Oh,
is
I
where
see.
like shielding comes into play a lot, or like moving backwards. I think necessarily not with dash because dash is fucking dashback has the biggest hurt box of all time behind it, but like wave dashing back or using roll, but generally
Yeah.
basing it around shielding because Falco hitting your shield is pretty good for him, but there's a lot of spots where he will do something incorrectly and then you will just get to narrow the shield or wave dash out and then play a mix up around getting a grab, which is really good for your dash attack,
I
obviously.
see. So you're saying it's not that I can't. It's not that I can avoid getting mixed up. It's that I can choose which mix up is being played. I.e., I can get my shield out and then play that kind of mix up rather than getting hit by a combo move or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think you mentioned that thing about Dare beating my tilts, and that's something that definitely frustrates me about Falco relative to Fox is that his down air just it's like if I beat Fox to nairing, I will win every time.
Hmm.
But I can't it doesn't Falco's down air completely fucks with my sense of
Yeah, I think
like
it's just
what
harder
is
to
the
do it against Falco. especially with
Oh my god,
laser. It's just like
yeah.
whether
Yes.
it's because laser's there and the spacing just isn't actually the spacing where
Yeah.
you get to forward tilt the thing, because it's not even about spacing at that point. It's about frame advantage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's about frame
That's the
advantage.
real thing. And so it's like
So
you
much
have
more
to
awkward.
shift it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm streaming if you're in, and then we could
Yeah.
start watching. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Dude, I felt like I should have just been a little more aggressive because he's already up top.
I agree.
But
I think once you see him drop down, you could at least dash forward and do
um,
something. Because it's like,
yeah. What was I worried about?
I'm not sure. Because maybe
I think I
laser.
was worried about him. Like, what if he like drops down and lasers me from that position? I guess.
Well, one thing is, it's really hard for Falco to actually not end up in a shitty position when he's doing that, because you could either, like, it's hard for him to shoot a laser low enough to actually hit your dash, which means boost grab is immediately on the table, and you could just check Falco's doing that. Or, if Falco wants to, like, hit you out the air if you're going to jump over the laser in pressure, he has to shoot the laser, like, right here, which is like, if he's shooting the laser so early that it goes around here, what is all this? Right? What is this
Yeah, yeah.
entire height?
I guess like I'm also worried about running into like I'm worried about him just coming down directly with an aerial. Like, what if I just like I don't maybe I'm not being realistic, but like I'm like, dude, what if I don't know how to pressure him without running into his move?
You could
Is
jump.
maybe another thought.
Use the
Oh,
range, right?
yeah.
You dash forward, and then this is like horizontally, him being right here and you being here. This is the evil range where you get to jump, and then you
Yeah.
doing a spaced fair is just absurd. He cannot really do anything about it if he is not
Yeah.
sitting there waiting to read it. You know.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like here I should just decide whether or not I want to like whether or not I'm worried about him aerialing or lasering, and then like do the thing that is relevant to that situation
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can do like option coverage stuff. Like jump is a great option coverage thing, just because he can laser, but you're just gonna
Well, right,
jump
but
over
he's
it
not-
most of the
it's
time
like
in pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see. He could laser, but like even if he lasers, there's like no significant advantage, and it's awkward for him to do the laser to get the laser out at that height, and then
Also risky, because
yes,
getting
yeah,
grabbed is the worst case scenario, you know.
right,
And
yeah,
so he's probably gonna lean towards that, right? Yeah.
right. He's probably gonna lean towards like doing some sort of aerial landing. So 95% of the time, I can just jump
Yeah.
or
But
something like yeah.
I think it's good to try and grab, because a lot of Falcos don't not laser, or they try and play the little execution game where they get the single laser height that interacts well with dash. And so I think it's actually super advantageous when Falco wants to come down greedily here for you. You can kind of just run it. It's like
Okay, that's fine.
you getting dared there isn't that big of a deal, even though it's the best combo starter you could get, because what about all the other outcomes that lead to you getting a really good situation? He has one good thing, and you have like four, you know?
4, right? Yeah, I have grabbing. I can even like I don't know. I guess I could. Well, I'm trying to think of other things that I could do. I could grab him. I could hit him aerial. Like I could hit him. I could aim my aerial for his landing. I could be tricky, I guess, and like go to the side that's closer to him or something. I don't know.
I think walk up forward tilt's also good.
Oh yeah, dude, but he's a 0. Oh well, he's in the air.
But he's
So.
getting out the air, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Hitting people with forward tilt, as long as it's spaced, almost never matters unless they're CCing it.
Yeah, and if he's in the air, then GG.
It's especially good. Yeah, on the ground, it's still sus. It's like you're gonna be in the disadvantageous or frame disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm like minus on hit or whatever with the up tilt.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
But even still, it is not as bad as him just CCing and hitting you. And so it's like, even at low percents, forward tilt's pretty chill as long as it's spaced, which is obviously hard to do, but reasonable.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I think you missed an opportunity there too. You had him. You did the wave. You drop through and you're checking, right? But then you walk forward, which is totally good, but you have to grab him. You know, I think you thought it was gonna hit. Which
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe you meant to dash, and that's why you thought it would hit you, but I'm not sure.
Let me check. I don't. I think I started as soon as I started walking, I got I actually had I think when I'm watching this back now, I'm like, why didn't I F tilt him? But then I think like in the moment I must have also felt worried about like what if things went wrong, so I just shielded instead of F. Like, I think I saw it, and then I think something about it made me feel like I should shield instead of F tilt, but I don't even think F tilt would be good in this situation. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, the thing about walking forward here is you could always just press the grab button. And as long as you're like either true whiff punishing it or spaced, it doesn't matter. Because if you're spaced, Shine's not going to be on the table, which is totally fine.
I actually don't. I should probably practice grabbing AC Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I wasn't actually checking. I just wanted to find some way to like. I was being very general about this. I think in the moment I was like, okay, well, I want to move myself out of the corner, but I don't want to be hit, so let me try to shield.
Yeah.
But I could have just grabbed his landing, especially if I checked for the AC Bear and I saw him drift forward.
I agree. This might be a broader thing where it's like, it might actually be a useful thing to like change about your perspective where it's like, if Falco ends up with his back turned to you somewhat close, the first thing on your brain should be like, is he gonna AC Bear or not? And whether that's like, if you're really close, you'd be crouching or maybe shielding. And if you're further away, you'd be like holding this spacing and looking for it, and then worry about everything else afterwards. You know?
Yeah.
I think double jumping forward here is kind of greedy. I'd rather double jump in place, just and think about falling to ledge or maybe drifting onto the stage at the last second. Just because you're at such a low percent, you getting hit here doesn't really matter that much. But like you getting hit here does matter because he can play around. Like he can hit you here and then have pressure when you fall to the platform, right? Which is similar to what happens where if he had good tech skill, he'd probably shine you before your fair came out, or he'd be shield drop shining, this fair or something, right? Yeah. And that ends up being really bad compared to the alternative.
Yeah. So you're saying I should probably like I bias towards falling towards the ledge here.
Yeah. Either falling straight to ledge or double jumping in place and then falling to ledge.
Yeah, I think in general I have this bad habit of double jumping like towards the stage. Like it happens in Marth too, and I get turbo damage in that matchup because I burn my jump in a way that like gives him the most amount of time to hit me.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
This is a spot where I think it's really intuitive to jump a Sheik, but it's probably better to wave dash back.
Yes, I have noticed that.
Yeah.
Like when I'm playing really well against Falco, I notice that I actually use a lot of wave dash back and instead of dash back or even jump.
Yeah, wave dash back is just it goes under lasers. It goes under lasers and it moves you out the way. It beats two birds with one stone, and it keeps grab on the table, which is also a really big part of it. It does everything,
Okay.
You can get red, obviously. Like he could do approaching no fast fall late laser, and then he's on top of you with a laser shining you.
Yes.
But it's like I'm okay with him doing that read because that means he has to transition through this space with no hitbox.
Right, so I can just F tilt him.
Yeah, you could F tilt, you could grab him, right? You could just grab early.
Yeah.
You could be up tilting. You could also still be jumping and fair about the air or something,
Like if I really want to be safe or whatever, then I could still be jumping and might resolve poorly for him anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because it's not that jumping is bad here. I don't think there's nothing Falco's going to do about you jumping in this spot other than, like, he'd have to hard read it and do, like, an approaching high laser, which happens. But, like, that's it. And so I don't think jumping's bad. It's just not as like honed in,
Yes.
But you do a good needle. That's fine. I think you could have had better tech skill with it, just as like a thought. If you like realize he was daring below you, you could think about doing these needles a lot later, just because it's like Falco's pretty slow, and so he can't dash forward and actually hit you, realizing that he whiffed the aerial. And if he dashes back, there's a good chance he'll get caught. Delaying the needles in a spot like this where you see him whiff under you is good against Falco specifically.
I think I'm actually really bad at reactively doing delayed needles. I think like I'm worried. I think for some reason I'm worried that not enough needles will hit him, even though that is not actually relevant to the combo because only the last needle matters for the combo hit, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I should practice doing delayed needles.
Sounds fine. Don't like the dash forward. I think you tried to do something tricky maybe, but when you do this jump to play around full hop, the only things you have to worry about are him falling through the platform, which would probably be like up tilt, or moving out the way if he does an aerial, which would be like wave dashing back is the moment you see the fair, or as soon as you see that the fair whiffed, and creating more space.
Why was that? Sorry, I'm trying to think about why I tried to dash. I think I tried to dash through here because I wanted to like dash back and grab him or something, but then I realized it wasn't going well, so I shielded.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have to. So you're saying I don't have to be tricky here, and I can just.
You can be tricky, but I think if you're going to be tricky, it'd have to like you'd probably have to see something different. It's like you could see that he's shielded. I think being tricky in this spot probably ends up being more about like frame time, like
Okay.
your fair coming out relative to him being on the platform and it whiffing, than like the situation itself. Because say if you're like on the ground 4 frames faster, which is completely likely, and the fair could still whiff in that case, you dashing forward makes a lot more sense because instead of being right here, you'd probably be right here and already dashing back.
Sure.
And that like could maybe mean that you could grab, you'd probably get shined, or it could mean that you dash past, and then if he decides to shield drop at the timing he did, you could already be jumping here with a spaced bear, and then it'd be good against him also staying on the platform because of either shield poke or pressure. But then at that point, it's also like, I don't know if I'd want to be tricky if the alternatives are me, or like the situations are me burying him or grabbing him, when it seems like both of those things, either a fair here or like an up tilt, which generally leads to grab, is on the table, you know?
I see. So it's like he's already above me and close to me and in his shield, and like there's like if in that position, it's like just a generally good position for Sheik in almost every matchup because I have up tilt and back air.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes sense.
It's like you don't need to be tricky. Being tricky doesn't add any new like
Yes.
outcomes. Yeah.
That down smash is really bad.
I think
Oh,
that's
and then I'm right
fine.
next to Falcon. It's horrible.
It's just like you got hit. You tried to narrow shield and you're down smashing. You got hit by the dare. It was a true punish. So it's fine. The stem fair is good. But look at this range. Walk up F tilt is the main thing that you should be thinking about, because him dropping through super greedy, and you have to be able to like know that that's on the table. But instead you dash forward, and then now it's like I'm hit by Falco's laser point blank. This is the worst thing of all time, you know?
Yeah, I think in this position, I'm thinking about like, I think I was trying to dash jump, but I don't think I still don't think that was a great idea either. Like I should have just been. I was already underneath him, so why not just milk it? F tilt, up tilt, back air,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, it's just like if you like actually look at the spacing that comes up after you hit the fair, you should know that it's not going to knock down. He's going to stay on the platform, and he can at least shield dropping is on the table, and that you're going to be at this spacing. And so it's like whenever I'm at this spacing against Falco, and he doesn't currently have a laser out, you walk up F tilting or boost grabbing is on the table always.
Really? Okay, so for this is I think this is a knowledge issue. Like I thought that like I always feel like I need to play around drop through laser in this position, but you're saying like he's too slow and I can just walk up F tilt him.
Yeah. Think about look at when you're actionable compared to when Falco's laser even starts coming out. Falco's laser is
He
slow
did
as
do the
hell.
laser, right?
Yeah, he did do the laser. And so it's like you're actionable now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yo, it would have been so
Right.
free.
It's like you have so much time to just walk up F tilt or boost grab. Both work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was like a focus problem. You didn't react well there.
Yeah, I should have just back aired him. I was just like, I panic when I come down. Like when I come down and he's on, like when we're really close together like this, I'm not usually looking at him very carefully, and I just like want to put the fastest and closest hitbox out possible, but probably not reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you jumped over laser. Cool. Weird.
I jumped over to laser, but like, am I?
This is
Oh,
fine.
I guess I'm close to him still.
You just don't. Yeah, it's like you're not actually threatened. You're chilling. You're just super
But
chilling.
I'm also not threatening him. It feels like.
Well, look what happened. He didn't do another laser. He's a Falco without a laser.
Oh, I see. So this is a range where I can boost grab him, F tilt him, something.
Yeah, like it's like you jump over the laser. He's like, okay, I don't know. He's thinking maybe my laser is gonna hit the Sheik jumping. He didn't do it well enough for that to happen. Or Sheik's gonna like maybe get hit by the other laser, and then I could do dash dance approaching laser, which is what he tried to do, but he realized, and so he double jumped. And so it's like that's why Falco chose not to do another laser there, because he was trying to set up a timing for if the laser hit you, the second laser, and then when it doesn't hit you, you could empty land, fast fall, boost grab, totally on the table. You could walk up and F tilt and pressure this spacing. It's hard for him to deal with. He'd probably have to keep dash dancing here and read it, which means he gets hit by boost grab. Or you could just jump again, and unless the Falco reads you with a high laser, completely on the table, and you're getting bombed. So you get demolished if you get read like that. But if it doesn't happen, you do an AC fair here, he still probably doesn't have a laser out, and then it's like, oh, you could also empty land. And it's like, oh, if I get to this spacing and Falco still doesn't have a laser out, he's cooked, you know?
Why doesn't he just laser in place?
What does it accomplish for him?
I mean, like, well, it's like I can't really do anything about it. Like, I can't like get any more stage from him immediately, I guess, is why I would do it. It doesn't change his position, I guess.
It doesn't change the position. And I think there's also, in terms of like things you'd be doing out of laser, for him, you being able to dash under the laser means that he has to shoot low, meaning that you could also jump over. Like Falco's playing that mini game the whole time. He doesn't know if you're gonna dash and end up under the laser, if he would be doing a high laser to catch you jumping, or if you're going to jump over the laser doing a low laser to catch you dashing, right? He's always playing that mini game, and there's nothing he could do about it. He's just going to have to deal with either you crouching or dashing under the laser or jumping over it, and both of them mean you get to take space.
That capacity a lot. Like, I assume that because like I think I don't value the side where, how do I put this? I like place too much emphasis on like what if he wins the mix up and not like what if I win the mix up. Like, I think in this way it actually feels probably a little lopsided for Falco when I'm even anywhere close to him when he doesn't have laser out, because if he's wrong, like if he's wrong or if he's right, sometimes the most he gets is 3% and the position hasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
Versus like if versus if I'm right, I like start mauling the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously Falco could hit you with the laser and then pressure you, right? And that's totally fine. Maybe you got shit on. But it's like, it is a lot harder for Falco to do that while also avoiding you just pressing a button.
I see.
Like, you could throw caution to the wind and decide, I'm gonna forward tilt half screen, and if he does something aggressive, you're just gonna fucking hit him. And then if he wants to punish you for tilting half screen, he has to do something preemptive, which means that you doing something like jump demolishes it, or delay F tilt demolishes it, or crouch down tilt demolishes it, right?
Okay.
It's like Falco from these ranges doesn't actually get massive. He gets advantages, but he doesn't get massive advantages from being right.
Right, because he has to win. He has to win more than one mix-up to hit me.
Yeah, Falco's thing is, once he gets to this point, with either a laser out or a frame advantage, you're doomed. But before then, he's still playing a little game, trying to get there to catch you, like, in between actions.
Okay, that helps massively, I think. Because that sort of puts concretely what my, like, the mini game that I'm always playing with him is. Yeah, okay. I think I played the next part all right.
Yeah, I think that's totally
realize
fair.
that things go wrong, so then I just go to the side just in case he comes towards me or something.
You crouch, you wave flash back. I'm fine with that.
Why did I do the needle? No.
Yeah, the needle's pretty greedy. You didn't look at the
spacing. I had a great position. I felt like I could just run off fair here, or I don't know. Like, there are other things I could have done surely.
I don't know if you need to go to the platform though. I feel like going to the platform here is like a cop out. Like, you could like. Falco's double jumping, you know? This is where the things that we talked about from the top platform are on the table even more prevalent way. Because instead of it being like, he could at least double jump, and so maybe you feel like an idiot, you know, boost grabbing under him. But here it's like, he will fall. He is forced to play either, I'm going to execution test myself in laser low, or I'm going to come down with an aerial or wave land and try and see if I can get out. And technically, he could land on the platform, but you could also, again, there's ways that you could play around the situation that are not like they're option coveragey. You
What was
know,
the first point at which I could react to his jump? I have no idea what I even responded to. Like
you
I
wave dash back, seeing him jump, and so then by this point, you probably shouldn't have shielded. You shielded preemptively, which didn't really make much sense. And then
yeah.
if you weren't shielding, you'd see that he double jumped by the time you're done with
Oh,
your
and then I would have
wave
right. Okay, the
dash.
shield made it awkward for me.
Yeah.
But why? So why did I shield? Because I saw him moving forward to me with it, but he was so far out of range.
He could
He
have
would have.
lasered, but you don't need the laser preemptively. You could always shield on reaction to the laser. Startup, at least.
Okay, that is probably something I need to internalize really well, and I can play against any number of noob Falcos to work on that.
Yeah.
But I that is something that happens to me a lot. Is that I preemptively shield the laser because I just don't want to have to deal with the idea that he could be close to me and hitting me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I just reacted, then
You could tell, yeah.
yeah, I could tell, and then sometimes he's just gonna be close to me, and I'm gonna have to win a mix up, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Can't win everything against Falco.
Yeah, the needle's definitely a mistake. But even still, you wave dash back, which doesn't make sense. You could run off
I
bear.
feel like if I saw him running towards me now, in a vacuum, I would just be like, oh, why don't you just run off bear?
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I did the thing where I tried to F tilt him for being near and above me or whatever.
It was fine. Nothing wrong with that. Worst case scenario is you're shielding, and it's like, I'm okay with that as a worst case scenario, you know?
I see.
Now, you kind of tried to do something preemptive, which I guess you got baited by the empty land, but you didn't need to press a button, you know? Because you could, at least for shield grabbing, you could react to the aerial startup before you decide to do it or not, and see the timing and spacing that it hits your shield. And so,
yeah, did the double jump empty land. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
It's
I guess
I check for the aerial while he's coming down for the double jump. If it doesn't happen, then I just keep holding shield because there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, technically, you could read the empty land early, or be worried about it and then narrow the shield now or grab now. But there might be reason to want to move early, or do an action I don't know, assuming that he did aerial, but you'd probably be doing narrow to shield earlier, right? Your timing was so late. It looked like you were checking for an aerial, but then once an aerial didn't happen, you just kind of pressed the button anyways.
Okay.
Because I think, at least when
that does happen a lot to me
yeah.
when you say it like that, so I think that's the conceptual thing I need to fix.
Yeah, you'd be grabbing now if you thought that he was doing an aerial.
Right.
But you grab the moment his up tilt comes out, which obviously you weren't reacting to, but it's more than in the sense that it was late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you're saying even if I did intend to do narrow shield, it was just mad late.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't know how to do that, but that's fine.
It's just hard position. Those needles are super gritty.
Yeah, I just sort of if I don't know if nothing's happening, I just sort of fall with needles sometimes, but I think I should probably be a little more judicious.
I agree. I also think honestly, as Sheik, and I see this, I'm more willing to either dash forward and either land on the platform and either do a drop aerial here or fall all the way through empty land and then pressure with F tilt or go back. I would almost never drop here. Because how slow Sheik falls, you just straight falling doesn't actually.
Oh, right.
It's not very good. It's not good.
The best case scenario is that I hit the needles that I threw, but I don't get any meaningful advantage off that because I did them in the air, or so high up in the air or something. Yeah.
Yeah, just Sheik doesn't actually get to do anything here, and she falls so slow that she actually gets pressured. And so that's why the platforms are cool, because they're a buffer. You can fall fast to the platforms, right? And then be actually doing a thing. But here you're falling slow for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And then you get lasered and you're like, well, fuck, now I'm in a situation where he could be approaching lasering and you're worried about that or whatever and blah, blah, blah. You also preemptively shield after wave dash again.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I need to swap to my phone.
Okay. Oh wait, yeah, I was sitting here and I forgot that it would do the thing where it reboots you. Oops. Okay, hello.
Hello. Okay, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, right. Falling Needles is greedy, and then oh, that was funny. I can't believe that worked out that way. I didn't think it was gonna work out that way.
Uh, that was fun. You need to thread narrow the shield more often. Narrow the shield more often. One,
Yeah, because that's so free. I just narrow shield at this range and you can't do anything about it.
yeah, it's like if you do shield a laser, always know that narrow the shield when you're at this spacing is on the table, and you can
Yeah.
be a lot of things with it. Um,
Yeah, and he has to work really hard to bait it, right?
yeah, it's very difficult to deal with.
Oh. I think I tried to grab him. I don't know what happened here.
I
I
think
felt like
if you're the goat, you could realize the up B will hit and won't send them to the platform, which is hard to tell here. But if you just trust it and fast fall through the platform instantly and like dash up, I think you can actually tech chase everything.
that's amazing.
I think it's
I didn't
possible.
realize. I thought he was gonna be on the platform, honestly.
It
So it's
was
so
really
slow to
hard to
react.
tell. I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, put the respawn kind of poorly.
Yeah, beetles are fine. That's fine. And then you dash forward again. So this seems to be like a consistent thing where if you do an aerial trying to hit Falco on the platform and it whiffs and you realize he's further away, you'll always dash forward. But you just have to use your big moves, you know?
Yes, I wonder why. Oh, I guess if I wanted a back air, I would just already do it.
You
Like I
can
can
just
just
turn your
dash
back.
back air. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing. Okay, yeah.
Going to the top side platform when it's on top is fine. But then I think you didn't react well. You missed an opportunity. So it's here, you jump back, and then you drop through. You get to start mashing moves. It doesn't matter what moves you mash. It could be
Mm.
jab, it could be F tilt, it could be down tilt. Does not matter. But when you look at the frame advantage, or not frame advantage, but frame time, you end up at around frame neutral. And even if you're slightly a few frames negative, it doesn't matter. Falco still has to deal with F tilt, down tilt, jab. So you could just smash
Yeah,
on him. I think you missed an opportunity. You could also threaten actually just run up grabbing, but you run the risk of getting shined, which is,
I
whatever.
see. Okay, so you're saying like I had good grounded pressure in the position, so going back to the side was not really needed, especially if I reacted well
Yes.
to the. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that was so greedy. I feel like I could have easily known that his side B was going to reach the like.
I think the thing that went wrong was that you didn't realize you hit him out of a double jump. And so if you knew you hit him out of a double jump, you'd go off the platform and then throw a needle that hits him here.
Dude, does Neil really reach that far?
I'm so
I guess.
sure. And if it doesn't, I also believe that if you had good tech skill coming off the platform, you'd run off instantly here, and then you'd be able to run dash or run throw a needle here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, no, that makes
Because you
sense.
did wave dash, you shielded, and then wave dash off the platform, right?
Yeah,
It's
why
like
did I shield? I don't remember why I shielded. I think I just like I don't know what. Oh, I thought it ended up being an AC fair, but I thought I needed all cancel or something. I have no idea. Anyway, I understand the point, and I could have done the edge guard better. Okay, Okay, so clearly this has happened a lot of times now. Where when he ends up on the side and I'm on the ground, I don't really know how to play the next position.
I think using your big moves helps. So you do the nair, it's just fine. But then you do it. The problem is you do this like kind of autopilot fair, because it's
Yeah,
like you're drifting away with the nair, and you drifted all the way back. It's not like you drifted back in at the last second. You drifted all the way back as far as possible, and so it's like fair will never hit. Maybe if you
yeah,
drifted with your nair, maybe the problem is that when you do this nair, you should actually more be worried about just spacing outside of shine barely, and that's the only big thing. Because if
okay,
he's facing forward, right? So it's like he doesn't have back
yeah,
air. So if you stopped your drift here, you'd be able to do the fair every time, and I'd be like, good fair. And Falco does. Probably at least,
yeah,
And so then the thing that ensues after is now this doesn't really, or probably shouldn't really happen that often, where you end up at this weird position where when he comes down, you're like shielding a laser or something, and it's like that doesn't really make sense. There's also like spots in between where you could have been more aggressive. Like, what if you just dash attacked right now?
Yeah.
And you keep like, I think the way that you're thinking about Falco lasering is that you're like, I will get hit by a laser because the laser is coming out. But like, Sheik is one of the few characters in the game that can actually dodge lasers. It's
With
you have
movement.
yeah, and you have to lean into that. You really do. That's like what's going wrong. Is you're not leaning into the fact that you naturally just dodge lasers a lot with the things you do with Sheik.
Yeah. I think, related to this, I think I always feel like I'm cheating the Falco somehow when I like am mashing jump in his face, like because I think it goes back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like I feel like he could laser me at any time, and so it's like when I'm up close next to him and I somehow make it like in there and I'm just spamming jumps, it doesn't. I mean, this should not matter in a certain sense, but like it's just like I somehow feel like I didn't earn that advantage somehow because he can shoot me, even though like as we've gone over, like there's just so many things I could do. So
Yeah. I mean, I think just you got him. And
I got him. Okay.
it's hard. You have to realize that you're not cheating him if the Falco's trying to do something that is like one timing difficult. Like there's a single laser timing that hits your dash or your crouch.
Yeah.
That's it. One, right? And so it's like if he's deciding to do one thing that only has one possible timing, that's on him.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Right. Yeah, and I can just dash attack that and he'd be smoked
Yeah. Ooh,
if he doesn't get the perfect one.
Yeah, agree. Bad timing out of shield. Or maybe you messed up.
Yeah.
Maybe you messed up trying to nair.
No, it was definitely just bad. It was definitely just.
Oh, you meant to nair. You did try to nair. It was bad timing, but you did still try to nair. Yeah. Yeah, no. Just bad execution on the nair too. You had 1 frame late. I think you moved away for no reason here. I think you do this bear. You could walk away, but you have to pay attention to the like shine of shield spacing. That's the important part.
I autopilot dash aways on aerials. I need to be more cognizant.
Yeah, because this is like a real thing. You have to be super duper in tune with Falco's shine spacing, because Sheik is one of the characters that is really good at avoiding it, and if you avoid shine, Falco's fucked. He's doomed.
Right.
But then you missed it because you weren't like ready for it. But in a like perfect world, you hit this bear, walk away, and either just F tilt, fuck it, or you'd be like doing a rising bear afterward to catch him jumping into it, and then he'd like fly off the stage, and then you get to edge guard.
Right.
Oh my god.
I went to the ledge because I was scared.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that works out. Oh, I grabbed ledge so early. Oh, never mind. Good job, me. I edge guarded.
Oh. You should thread needles instead of jumping instantly.
Yeah, I thought the setup was really awkward, but it ended up working out because he's a noob.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, it's like you hit him off, you walk up, you charge needle, and then you check what he does, and if you think he's gonna fall, you could obviously throw them or whatever. But then like you could also stop charging the needles if you see like a double jump and then jump out, or even jump out preemptively. But like your baseline will be like standing here with some needle action, and then it'll go between throwing needles, turning around, grabbing ledge, running off, doing needle turnaround, threading bear reaction stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Marth thing, where like you're charging needles, like, and you're not always going to throw them, but you're charging them to get a reaction out of him, and then or get him to do something, and then you're going to do the other stuff. You're going to do other stuff around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But throwing the needles is the least common thing against.
Right, because he doesn't want because none of them are going to fall into the needle because it's just auto death.
Yeah, Falco and Fox or whatever have good enough double jumps to actually avoid the needles. Marth does not. So it doesn't matter if you throw the needles or not against them, but against spacies it does matter.
Oh, I was so bad. I should have just. I don't know why I dashed back. I feel like I was so involved.
Yeah, I think he did something weird, but the problem is he wave dashed down. That's the problem.
Yes.
I think if you're reacting well, you'd see that he did this jump shine, and then you would literally just bum rush him.
Yeah.
And you'd probably be happy with the result. But then you wave dash down, and then you try and still do something, but you don't get to do anything because you messed up. And yeah, you should just hold the
I'm try
space.
to grab him.
This is another spot where you're behind Falco. You should only be looking for AC Bear initially. And so if you're like standing still, he had AC Bear, you grab him, and it's easy peasy. But there's no reason to dash back there because you're not worried. Okay, one thing that actually is important: you're okay with Falco creating space between you and him. Because
wait, what?
You do not want to be close to the Falco unless it's on your terms.
Oh yes.
And so it's like if Falco decides that like he's gonna like, I already passed. If Falco's gonna like AC, if he's just gonna like dash back laser instead of AC bearing here, you're honestly okay with that. It is not that bad because it means that Falco won't have to play this spacing versus this spacing, which is annoying, right?
Right.
But that's so much better than imagine if instead of AC bearing, the Falco did dash back, dash in, aerial. And you're like, what fuck, I'm getting fucking pressured. This is bullshit. I can't escape. Right? Doesn't one of them like just kind of fundamentally seem better?
Yeah, like one of them is like he gets 3 damage at most and then has to win and gets like a fairly good mix up. And then the other one is like I lose 1 mix up into getting exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just like it does. Falco giving you space doesn't matter. Falco being close to you is the devil.
Yeah. I think I overrate Falco getting to reset to neutral because it's all connected. Like I overrate Falco getting to reset to neutral because I don't have a good idea of like how he's transitioning between the space and like what my goals are. And then so it's like, well, I better not let him shoot me. And then I end up here where I actually take 30 damage right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, I guess we're getting around time, and I know you have dinner to go to, so we could wrap up here.
Yeah.
I mean, the main things you talked about, or actually, we talked about the spacings or whatever. We talked about playing from the platform and also playing when Falco's on the platform. And the main things that like you struggled with were not using your moves to threaten Falco coming down potentially in almost any regard, whether it was like he was double jumping or falling through platform. And you have to check. You literally just have to like see if he is capable of dealing with it. Because some Falcos will let you dash attack or boost grab them there for free every single time before two of them, and other ones will like play the game, and so you have to like look. There's a thing with Falco having your back turned where you should just kind of be looking for AC Bear initially. You could worry about Wave Dash too, but like as a baseline, AC Bear is the easy thing that many bad Falcos will do, and many good Falcos will do. There's a thing with laser heights that we talked about. Your movement naturally avoids a lot of the different laser heights, and you're playing the little mini game of whether you go high or low, or I mean he goes high or low, and you go high or low with him or whatever. And from his perspective, it is a lot more difficult to close the space for even if he's right about high or low without like making some risk initially. Where you could like be okay with holding that space and you don't feel the need to be proactive. But you can still be proactive. You could read him just lasering and dash attack him whenever you want if you're close enough. Right. And then there were smaller things you talked about, like when you're on top platform, at least in that specific position, you could have gone with him to the other side of the platform or to the other side, the further side plat, and both would have been reasonable, but falling through the platform is just not an option because Sheik falls slow.
Right.
And then, I mean, there was the edge guard situation, but that was recent, so I'm not really going to cover it. I think that was the gist of it. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I think this makes sense. I think Falco versus Sheik is like I think just like Fox versus Sheik, it's like super detail oriented. Like I just have to be really diligent about the details because I have to be really diligent about the details because he has a lot of different things he can do.
Mm-hmm.
So but I think this gives me a good base. Like I think the things that stood out to me from after the lesson is that like really that it's actually not that big of a deal to be farther away from him.
No.
Because like just as how I feel like I have to just as how I feel like I'm gonna take a lot of laser damage while trying to, get to a position where I'm actually threatening him. Like he's also always playing a mini game where if he like as soon as he starts getting even a little bit close to me and he guesses wrong, things go horrifically bad for him.
Yeah.
So I have to like be more uh willing to acknowledge that like there's big risk for him. So
Mhm.
yeah, okay. And I think that's really the big thing that stood out because I think that sort of resolves a lot of my anxieties about the matchup where it's like I always feel like, okay, well, if I let him go far away from me, then it's cooked. But and then like but then if I try to force things too hard, then I end up close on his terms and then it's also cooked. So then like so then like I feel like I'm just going on platforms to waste time. And then that's like emotionally not fun and also like strictly mechanically not fun because like I'm just nothing is in my control. I'm just waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
So okay, but I think like understanding that when he's farther away and also understanding that like there is a mini game that he has to win that he has to win to be able to get close to me and there's lots of different tools I have. And like of course like it will still feel like things are kind of out of my control a lot of the time because he's going to shoot a lot. Like it's just and it's like I'm not Fox, I guess, so I can't
Mhm.
really close the gap that easily. I'm also not Marth, and I don't have like a massive sword and a
Yeah.
dash attack that threatens him that way. But so like he is going to just be able to shoot a lot at me, but the key is that like he eventually to hit me has to stop shooting. And the moment that like I happen to be in a spot that's where he doesn't have a laser out or something, or he's like transitioning between shooting and attacking, things can go really badly for him.
Yeah.
So, okay, that helps. I just have to practice this one and Marth for a really long time. Oh, all my Samus problems are resolved, by the way.
Nice.
I think, without going too much into it, I didn't realize that I didn't realize that standing needle completely beats missiles. Like, I mean, I knew needles clank with missiles, but I didn't think about the fact that standing needles, like, if I have more than one, then I win the interaction immediately. Because I think before I didn't realize that having standing needles means complete and total ground game advantage, and I would just be like, okay, well, if I'm not like, it feels like I'm just wasting his time, so I need to run in, and then like, even though the mix up still kind of works out for me in most cases, I still like I'm running at the Samus a lot,
Mhm.
and like he doesn't feel like he has to do anything to get me to come towards him. So then it just would be like, okay, like the mini game would happen and be like, okay, I can't beat him from really long range, so let me dash towards him and win one mix up and get a little closer. And if I lose that mix up, then like I'm like losing like 10 damage at a time or whatever, but it's still like way more than I need to play. If
Yeah.
I instead just like charge and shoot ground needle or whatever, and then like power shield the low missiles, then things get way harder for him because I'm not forced to run at him, and instead he has to like take some amount of risk to close the gap, and then I can start doing other things. And like sometimes that means like sometimes I'll have to shoot a higher missile, and then I can run all the way up under him, and then all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything changed when I realized I didn't have to run towards Samus. I can just throw grounded needles from really far away. So
Nice.
okay, but okay, this is really helpful. I assume you're just taking December off, so.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, cool. We will probably find the slot during December then. I don't think I'm going to any tournaments in that time span, but I have lots of things to work on anyway, Falco and Marth and whatnot. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
cool.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
no problem. Talk
Yeah.
to you later.